This is Charleston's retirement coach, Brandon Bowen.
Now, Brandon and I usually spend some minutes on this program talking college football, but this year, neither of us want to be doing that because as a Clemson fan, I'm Brandon Clemson. I am a Virginia Tech Hokie. It has been a little bit of a rough ride. The first few weeks of football.
Hey, are you guys going to hire Shane Beamer?
I think Shane's got to do what he's doing at South Carolina. He's,
Okay,
the Frank Beamer, it would not surprise me to see him come back to Virginia Tech one day. But as we see, he's doing good things at South Carolina.
Yep.
Everybody that's a South Carolina fan right now is like, how dare you, Brandon Bowen?
They're like,
you
back
watch
off
your
our coach.
mouth. You watch your mouth when you're
He's doing great things at South Carolina.
Yeah.
Just like Dabo did, I feel like early on, just a big cheerleader, not so much the X's and O's, but a great recruiter, getting the right culture.
Well, and that's such a testament, I'm sure, to what he watched his dad do. I mean,
Yes.
Frank Beamer was one of these coaches that like Saban and Kirby now, they really believe they interview every single person that's on staff. They are and I think that that's something that Shane has obviously taken to South Carolina, and good on him.
Yeah.
I was there during the peak of Michael Vick, Frank Beamer, Bud Foster at Virginia Tech, so I really respect the Beamer family and the Beamer legacy. So
yes.
Okay, hats off to you, South Carolina. Like I said, we don't want to talk too much about college football, but what we can talk about, little NFL talk. Nothing wrong with a little NFL talk. Particularly in the way of how it can relate to the folks. Well, you're Charleston's retirement coach, right? You're always talking about the retirement game plans that you're building in the Bowen Wealth offices, because it really is that. All the strategy, anything football and sports related, there's so much strategy and planning that comes to focus and fruition when executing a good game. So you need to have that strategy in place.
Yep.
NFL, as you're watching your favorite NFL team this weekend, think about this. The players, they're not only trying to win the game, win the championship, they're also trying to secure their financial future by way of the NFL pensions that are offered. This is Isaac Rochelle. He retired recently. He was with the Chargers, the Colts, the Browns, and the Raiders. And this is what Isaac was right. That's a long run there of
bless him.
Of not winning. Anyways, he did win in some aspects though. Here's Isaac.
To qualify for those benefits, you have to play 3 games or more per season, and I did that for 7 seasons straight. What does that actually look like? That means that essentially I'm going to make $700 to $1,000 per season per year when I turn 55. So you can do the math, 7 years, let's call it like $6,000 to $7,000 a month is what I'll get for my pension when I'm 55. Now, you don't get these unless you do at least 3 years. So you can't get it if you play 1 year in the NFL. You don't immediately get pension. You have to make it to 3, and I got 7.
So Isaac's looking pretty good. $6,000 to $7,000 a month in pensions once he hits 55. It's a pretty sweet deal to me. Here's the thing, though, Brandon. A lot of us aren't getting that option. Very few companies anymore are offering pensions of any kind. Those who do offer pensions, we talked about this before, you're getting a buyout option. A lot of companies are trying to get out of them completely. How can is there a way that we can kind of DIY then our own pensions? How do we create income in retirement for ourselves then, because the companies aren't doing it anymore?
Correct. Yeah. There totally is a way. And that's what I do that. This is one of the major components to building a retirement plan for everybody, and pensions. Yeah. You kind of think that has this like old school connotation, like, well, that's what my mom and dad had a pension.
Yep.
He worked for the same, maybe 2 employers his whole life. Probably you listening, your father, or your mom, or you just didn't bounce around. You went somewhere, that's your career, right? You would have decades there, and you had a nice pension.
Yep.
But then come along the 80s, 84, 85, 401ks were invented or created, whatever. And so then that started to become mainstream there. And then during the Bill Clinton years, that's when the stock market really, in the 90s just did this huge run up because everybody was starting to put into a 401k. Okay. Because companies saw that like, hey, buddy, talking to the board, hey, you guys see this? We can put this burden on our employees where we don't have to pay for everybody's longevity. Let's just give it to them. We can keep our own money and let's just match what they put in. Yeah. Right. That was the big idea. And they said, okay, so they started phasing that out. Some companies did it pretty quick. That's why very, very few now still do it.
Got it.
I think some of our biggest, Boeing, here in town, of course, your federal employees, your state employees have a pension here of South Carolina. So there's, your biggest employees still have something going, but even those have definitely changed.
Right.
Massively. Right. Even the federal government, the civil service, the CSRS is now the FERS plans. And there's so many plans and they keep tweaking them for air quotes for, a better plan, for our benefit. Yeah. Right.
Right.
So, bottom line, most everybody here, if you're listening, you probably have your biggest bucket is, your 401k or IRA. Maybe you've rolled them out. Maybe you've been consolidating your different times. And so your tax deferred bucket, hopefully you've got a few $100,000, maybe $1 million plus in there. But what hasn't changed, Heather, is the love for guaranteed income in retirement, right? I mean, come on. When we're working, income is so important. That's why we're working. We need income every week, every month, right? We need that paycheck every 2 weeks. That needs to hit my bank account here because, I've got all these bills I got to pay. I got a mortgage. I got all this stuff, right? Well, in retirement, income is still number one, right?
Yeah.
And the biggest change, though, is now you're not working anymore, right? So if we're not going in, punching a clock, 40 plus hours a week, getting that paycheck, well, now your portfolio must it does turn into your employer. Okay. That thing is what now has to pay and sustain you for who knows how many years. We don't, that's the other, we don't know longevity. We don't know how many years God has planned for us here on this earth. So it's a game of how much income, do we need to have coming in each month, let's say. And Heather, let's maybe play a little game here, a little like role playing, almost like if you call into the show here, you call in to the office and then you come in for a meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
So I want to help and talk through maybe what I would do with you listening. If you guys came in.
I'm you listening to the radio right now. I'm representing you and Brandon is Brandon.
There you go. Okay. So, and you have Kyle sitting right next to you, your husband. Okay. So you guys, Heather and Kyle, hey, nice to come in. Nice of you guys to come in. No, I'm not going to do it. But you would come in and we would, get to know each other. Yep. I would want to know, how'd you hear about us? And you'd say, what would you say?
I listen every week on the radio.
And that co-host of yours, she's so smart.
She's so smart and fun. She must be the best.
She's so funny. Yes, that's right. So that's great. And so then we would talk about it. I'd say, okay, well, tell me what all you've done for retirement. Where do you work now? How much longer do you plan to work?
Yep. I can tell you, we don't have pensions. We've worked very, very hard to save. We both have 401ks. And I have some savings over here in my stock portfolio. And and we have some cash savings for emergencies. So here's all of our things. But we don't know how to file for Social Security. And there's a lot of things we don't know.
Yeah. And how much longer do you plan to work?
At this point, I'm going to go with I'm 60. We're going to probably work another 5 to 7 years, we think.
Ooh, okay. Well, so then, that's great. So then I start to see, okay, here's some major components to this plan.
Yeah.
Right. I'm starting to think, all right, they want maybe 5 more years. So they're not talking like right now. So that's good.
Right.
They didn't procrastinate and it's not like emergency planning mode here.
Right.
All right. So we got some time. We got some things we can do. We even can even take a little bit of risk still and even do a few things later. It doesn't even all have to be done right now. Right. Okay. So that's one beauty of not putting it off. Okay. So then my next line of questioning, I would like to know, okay, well, what are your expenses, of with your income, yours and Kyle's income coming in? Would you say that you guys spend all of it right now, and if so, how much is that? What do you think your expenses are right now?
Right. We definitely don't spend all of our income because we have to save. We continue to save to our 401ks every paycheck. And also we save every one of our paycheck. We have cash that goes into our little cash pool. And we have, I know that once we get to file for Medicare, we have to think about the income that we right now are putting towards health insurance that we'll get that money back. So we're probably spending, but if we're being honest, we're probably spending more than we should. We're dual income, no kids. We eat out a lot, but we're probably spending, $8,000 a month with all of our added expenses.
Yeah. So once I know that number, right, then we take it a step further of like, okay, what's got to come in? So if you guys are at 8, maybe you would probably say like, well, I need 6.
Right.
We would love
I would say 6 is probably where we're at. Like mortgage, we don't have a car payment. Mortgage, utilities, groceries. Between about 6,500 is probably.
Okay. Yeah. So if 6,500 is maybe what you need to have, then that leaves us maybe a 1,500 or maybe another 2,000 of discretionary.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So once we know, so back to you listening. Okay. So once we know kind of what number, the big number, let's say for Heather and Kyle, they wanted 8,000 a month. Then the big question is, okay, of this 8,000, let's also assume now you're about to retire. How much of this 8,000 do you want to be protected or guaranteed to always come in? Right.
Yeah.
Because that's really, where my expertise really shines, is because there's different ways that we can generate $8,000 a month.
Okay.
Based on what you guys have saved. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you've saved well and we've got like $1 million, $1.5 million there, well, then we start looking at, okay, what are our protected income streams? And what you've said, Heather, is really just Social Security, because neither of you have pensions.
That's right.
And that's most everybody listening is just like that. And so I would say, okay, well, let's try to maximize what are our best filing strategies. And if you guys want to wait, you don't want to start at 62, that's great. That benefit's going to increase a little bit there. You're going to keep working. I love it. So once we know that number, then we need to say, okay, well, then if we need to if we need to DIY our own maybe $4,000 a month of protected income, then I'm going to go out there and shop it around and try to find, okay, what are the best ways that I feel like, to sustain that $4,000 a month. Okay.
Yep.
And there's different levels. You can look at, of course, some of the best fixed indexed annuities. I like those. If you, don't say that A word ever again, then we can start looking at other strategies, but we start losing the word guaranteed. Okay.
Okay.
So it's up to you listening. It's how much, and a lot of times everybody says, hey, I want a little bit of a lot of those options.
Yeah.
I want a fixed index annuity, but I don't want that to be my whole portfolio or a huge chunk. I want a nice, maybe 30% right there. Okay. Then we might do another 30% in some things like, maybe some structured notes, some defensive bond allocations, or some collateralized loan portfolios. So there's so many different ways that are generated, or dividend stocks. Okay, there's different ways that we can try to generate quarterly or monthly income, but you start introducing the potential for volatility there, where that can come up, they could come down, that kind of thing. So we just want to dial this thing into what is going to help you sleep 8 hours every night. What are you going to feel the most comfortable with? And when your head hits that pillow, I want you and your spouse to give each other a kiss and know that, honey, we are fine. If we need 10,000 a month, whatever the number, if you want 15,000 a month, if we have a good 50, 60% of this portfolio where you've got just peace of mind, no matter what happens, no matter when we go into our next market crash, right? Not if, but when.
Right.
When you guys have that confidence, then that helps you sleep. It gives you rest. You can spend with confidence, right?
Yeah.
You can take the trips together. You can take the kids and grandkids together, right? So that's really the question that I want you to be thinking about as you're picking up the phone right now. Is, I want to talk with Brandon. I want to come in. I want to get his professional opinion on how can I build my income plan. Okay. And maybe we'll talk in like my Nest thermostat here on the wall. I can dial that thing up or down depending on if I'm hot or cold, right? We can just dial in your income. How much do you want? Do you want it to be a little bit heavy on that protected, guaranteed income stream because cost of living, everything's going only in one direction, and that is up, right? We can put this plan together so that you guys can have confidence in your retirement. Here's my number, 843-890-2400.
Thanks for listening to Charleston's Retirement Coach Podcast with Brandon Bowen. To learn more, visit bowenwealth.com and join Brandon for his radio show, Charleston's Retirement Coach, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 94.3 WSC.
Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Brandon Bowen is licensed in your state, please call 843-203-2030. J. Brandon Bowen is an investment advisor representative of Bowen Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. J. Brandon Bowen is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Bowen Wealth, LLC, insurance licensed in South Carolina. Market Guard is a registered investment advisor with the SEC and provides model portfolios only to Impact Partnership Wealth. Market Guard makes no implied warranties or representations and is not liable for any data presented.